Hi everybody, myself Aparna, working as an assistant professor in Ratnam Technical Campus. In this section, we are going to see about different levels of testing. Let's see the basic levels of testing. Some of the basic levels of testing are unit testing, integration testing, system testing, and user acceptance testing. Levels of testing. Before going to the levels of testing, let's see what is software testing. Software testing is done at various stages of software development lifecycle. SDLC is nothing but the software development lifecycle to ensure that the software product meets the required specifications at each stage. Scope of testing at each level is different in software testing. Various levels of testing are unit testing, integration testing, system testing, and user acceptance testing. Unit testing. Unit testing is the base level of testing which has been done by the developer by themselves. It is used to test the modules, which is the smallest part of the program. Unit testing. Individual units of source code are tested to determine if it conforms to the technical specification document. The smallest unit of code will be tested. For instance, individual program functions to procedure are the smallest unit of testing. In object-oriented programming, the smallest unit is a method which belongs to base or superclass or abstract class and derived child class. The field validations, presence of menu controls, and layers of pages are tested with different inputs after coding or user interface design. Code is executed and tested to ensure that each line of code is run for the test cases as per the requirement. Unit testing. The major important points of unit testing are low-level testing. It is the lowest level of testing, part of the construction phase of software development lifecycle, done once coding for the unit or program is completed, generally performed using white box testing. Unit testing is performed by the software developers by themselves or by peer. As the unit testing is done by the software development, even the smallest module can be tested by the developer and then the developer can proceed for the further future development of the software. Some of the artifacts of unit testing are unit test case documents, unit test logs, and unit testing defect report. Unit testing entry criteria are unit test plan is baseline, coding is completed, code is reviewed, and baseline. And baseline is an optional of our unit testing. Exit criteria 100% statement coverage. Each and every statement of the program is tested under the unit testing. Acceptance level of code coverage will be obtained in unit testing. Next level of testing is the integration testing. Integration testing is done to check the data flow between the modules or between the system. There are two types of integration testing. One is the unit integration testing and second one is the system integration testing. The first level of integration testing is the unit integration testing. The individual software modules or pages are integrated and tested for their functionalities as one single unit. Ensure that the individual units work together as a whole and the data flows across the unit as per the requirement specification. Done after two or more programs or application components have been successfully unit tested. In integration testing, any type of testing methodology can be implemented. Black box or white box methodology can be used to test the integration parts, and it is also referred to as the assembly testing and API testing, application programming interface testing. Unit integration testing entry criteria are the integration test plan is baseline, code and unit testing is completed, and unit test errors are fixed and verified, code is reviewed and baseline. Exit criteria 100% thread coverage is achieved in unit integration testing. There are two types of integration testing. One is the incremental testing and the other one is the non-incremental testing. Incremental testing, continuous testing of an application as new functionality is added, whereas in non-incremental testing, testing of combined parts of an application to determine if they function together is successful. Unit integration testing approaches. Some of the unit integration testing approaches are top-down approach, bottom-up approach, sandwich approach, and Big Bang approach. Here they are given the pictorial representation of top-down and bottom-up testing. In top-down testing, the lowest module is replaced by the dummy module called step, whereas in the bottom-up approach, the dummy module of the higher level will be replaced by the driver module. Stubs and drivers. The stubs are the dummy pieces of code which is used in the top-down approach. On the other hand, drivers are the ones which are the calling programs. Drivers are dummy code used in bottom-up testing approach. Drivers are used when the stub modules are ready but the main module is still not ready. The drivers are mainly used in the bottom-up approach which is used for replacing the higher level modules. Unit integration testing, who performs it is either the developers by themselves or by the independent testers. The test artifacts created are component integration test case documents, component integration test log, component integration testing defect report. System testing. Testing of complete integrated system or software is done in system testing, performed on the entire system where the system is validated against the functional requirement specification and a system requirement specification. Black box testing is preferred to carry out the system testing. Defects that are missed to catch the as in the unit testing are uncovered in this type of testing. This type of testing is also known as the assembly testing. Some of the scenarios will be covered for a test only during system testing. Individual modules may work as desired but may fail as a system. In the unit testing, this is uncovered during the system testing and is characterized in this type of testing. System testing is performed by the independent testing teams or are experienced as testing persons. Some of the artifacts in system testing are system test case documents, system test logs, system testing defect reports. System integration testing approaches are based on risk-based and divide and conquer. In risk-based system, it identifies the system integration components that are critical to the business and prioritize them and test sequentially. Whereas in divide and conquer concept, test the outside first and then test the connections one at a time first and then combine incrementally and safer than Big Bang concept, which is a non-incremental method. User acceptance testing. In user acceptance testing is the final type of testing which is done in the user environment and by the users. Let's see in detail about the user acceptance testing. In this concept, the testing is done by the end users, allowing them to verify day-to-day business scenarios and validate if the system development satisfies their needs. Validates if the software meets a set of agreed acceptance criteria. Validates if the application is fit for deployment. Performed generally in the customer's environment. Performed after the system testing or system integration testing or in parallel. It's assured that the software application meets the need of the user, business or not. It's determine whether to accept a software product. The major type of testing to identify the mistakes in software is one is the module testing, which is also known as the unit testing done by the developers. In this concept, the developers by themselves test the testing process to identify whether there is a mistake which is not satisfied by the user. In higher level of testing, that is user acceptance testing. It is done totally in the user environment, which is used to maintain the software and also to satisfy the users. User acceptance testing is performed in two types. One is the alpha testing and the other one is the beta testing. The people involved in testing are users, testers, developers, and all their stakeholders are the people who involved in the software testing